welcome everyone to ECHOESTALK. Today we're going to be talking about hauling, and Sandbridge has given us, Sandbrig, again, fuck up on my front, has given us a whole list of things to talk about today, so we're going to get as quickly as possible. I may disappear at some point if the baby wakes up, but the guys know and they will take over the conversation, so nothing will stop on the spot. If you want to welcome yourselves, say hello, Sam.
Hello, how's things?
Same shit, different.
Yeah.
And say hello, Mr. Swede.
Hello, Mr. Swede. All right. Hi. Crazy Swede. You all know me by now. I've been intruding here long enough. I wasn't supposed to be on today, but here I am, apparently. And hauling, this is not my area, but we'll have fun.
We had a certain someone pull out on the last minute. So we had to drag Swede out of bed.
Something like that.
Yeah. And now we'd like
Again,
to
yes.
welcome Fish, fellow moderator and content creator.
Hi guys, so I'm a fish. Who am I? You'll never know because I'm lurking everywhere. But I am with OBS, which is Obsidian, Strength and Honor.
All right. So let's get into the actual king. Yeah. You may hear some children screaming in the background. Please let me know. Screaming in that if I have children blowing up, so I can mute. Because I can't always hear it, whereas you guys might actually. Actually, warn me if there's a baby screaming, because I'll have to actually go. Like, that might go down really badly. Right, so Sam, do you want to go into what hauling?
Cool. Okay. Hauling is in EVE Echoes, well, and in EVE Online, it's basically moving anything from A to B. We're looking at figuring out what supply and demand is from one region to another, or moving items from one trade hub to another for various reasons, or you could be looking at a large corp operation of moving your entire corporation from one area to another. So it's any kind of movement of items across systems is hauling. You could also be looking at hauling being from the belt to the station, depending on if you got a big mining up going on.
Fantastic. Sorry, I muted I was talking there. Apologies. We have a guy, someone was talking to me about fixing RTX feed background sounds, which I usually do use. But because I reset my computer a couple of days ago, I had the massive technical difficulty. I had to do a lot of work. And Sam and Swede sat here for hours talking me through the options. Nightmare for them, because it was as simple as closing the browser. Like what? It was a system we were using for the cameras and the talking. Right now we're using GPU with a background noise cancellation. Yeah, it's just a program that comes along with RTX. You can use it without an RTX card as well. RTX noise cancellation. Inbuilt feature. That's a story for another time, ladies. Cutting your sound. Sound cutting?
You're coming through fine here.
All right, so we're going to go on to talk about hauling in general, so courier contracts. So would anyone like?
I was actually kind of curious about what types of hauling there are, because in EVE Online, there's the speculator haulers, hired haulers, and the courier mission runners, right?
Courier missions, there are, but they're weird in EVE Online. They you deliver weapons but you don't deliver the weapons. You're actually just planting a bomb on a station. I don't get what that has to do with hauling, but it's part of they don't really have the courier mission.
I see. Yeah, because I was just kind of curious about what's the difference between like big scale hauling versus, an independent, I guess, some kind of one with a contract versus not.
I have done a lot of hauling in EVE Online. I remember it's been years since I did the tutorial, but I remember running from one station to another carrying like special mission units, like cargo, like I think it was military units or something at one point. And it was just basically small items moving from one station to another and getting a small reward. After that, I did moving items from Jita to Amar and back again based on trade values. And it was just like, buy some stuff, get it into an Iteron 5, move it across, sell it. That was when I lost my first hauler. I tried to move 100 mil worth of stuff in an Iteron 5. Not a good idea.
Yeah, no, that definitely does.
More than that, though, you're looking at if you wanted to move something in EVE Online, this was going back to maybe 5 years or something. If you wanted to get something moved from one place to another, you'd contract it to Red Frog. And you would send through a value of ISK associated with the contract and a collateral, and maybe within a day it would be there, maybe much earlier. So this is a corporation that all they do is have their name out there and have everyone contract courier stuff to them, and they have couriers all throughout their corporation who just move stuff from A to B, and that's all they do, and they get paid handsomely for it. They've also got Blue Frog and Black Frog. Yeah, Blue Frog and Black Frog go for the nullsec and low sec stuff. Black Frog being the nullsec.
Which they're both really well known. A lot of them. Black Frog gets used like stuff in large quantities. Guys don't even wake up for any billion on a contract.
Yeah, I've used them before. They've been fantastic, though they are a bit expensive.
Yeah, well, you should want the best to pay for the best.
Oh yeah, and the last one is corporation hauling. So you could be looking at a corporation in nullsec could say, hey, we need all this stuff seeded, get it from highsec to nullsec. That's generally in EVE Online, that's all through jump freighters and sinos. Or you could be saying, hey, we've got a corporation here, we're deploying from this region to this region. You need to get all these ships from here to there today. Get to it. And then you're looking at Titans and bridging freighters.
Now, with EVE Echoes about to launch, is there something that's better to do in terms of hauling? Like, is it easier to haul solo, easier to haul as a team? Like, how does that work? Because you were mentioning it sounded earlier like you were mentioning this. People have teams that just specialize only in hauling now, and is that something that might be profitable when the game first launches?
At the start, I don't know. We're having we're having some problems saying that in and out, but problems on my end. We've got no problems hearing anyone, or it might be a Twitch problem. But they're saying it's only me. Why would it be only me? Are there any issues in the chat?
Yourself.
I mean, I mute myself. I've got a button like Go XLR. I just press the button when I'm speaking. I don't really change it.
Sovereign has a warp scrambler on his volume.
Yeah, someone's screwing with me. I have a Minmatar mic.
Tell you what.
Hey, I have a Minmatar mic and mine sounds awesome. Just saying.
I'm still cutting. Like, I'm talking directly into the microphone. Yeah, there's no way I can be cutting.
So go into your Discord settings and lower your voice activation threshold a little bit.
It's at the bottom, mate. How about now? Is everything okay? Can everyone hear me now better?
Yes.
How about
I hear you perfectly fine.
How about everybody in the chat? Is this better now or worse?
Because the chat's actually what we're about.
It's
perfect.
Better. I know what they were talking about. It basically cut out the first couple of sounds that of the sentences, which is why I said the voice activation thing.
So it's saying, right. So okay, you guys carry on talking for a second because literally I changed nothing and now they're saying it's working.
I would just like to mention something. Sov's now at 2,002 subscribers.
Bit more than that, mate.
Minmatar main.
Well,
the muting button worked. Those are the not TOS friendly sentences he's saying right now. He loves it. He really does. As for hauling in EVE Echoes, you have to consider one very important difference, especially in highsec, being that you are safe. There are no suicide gangs. You can pick up as much value as you can fit into your ship and move it to another highsec system, and not have to worry about losing it.
So you don't really need to worry about having escorts, is what you're saying in the beginning.
You wouldn't have
I'm gonna
not in high
hold on.
tech.
War decks are a thing.
War decks aren't a thing yet.
Okay, they're not a thing.
No.
Cool. You're safe.
Yeah, we're safe.
Yet,
And
there's a lot of people
Yeah.
that want it, and these guys, the developers, seem to be very moving towards what a lot of people want. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if war decks get added in some form in the future. We know it won't be anywhere near soon. That hasn't even been written down as a document yet, let alone to put into the game.
I really, really hope they do, because war declarations between corporations is such a big part of the dynamic gameplay that is EVE.
Yes. But as they said in here, no jump freighters, which is a thing, and that won't be a thing for a while. They have only mentioned that they will add freighters. No one has ever said anything about jump freighters. Highsec is a bit too safe at the moment, but take it from people who are testing, it's not as bad as everyone thinks, okay? We can't go into details at all, but it's not as bad as everyone thinks. This ain't going to be like, everyone in Highsec's going to have a free-for-all. It's nothing like that. Don't worry, you'll get into the beta and you'll understand what they're trying to do. There's a lot of worry about Highsec being too safe, but it's not really how it works.
I like what Nina says. More stuff being blown up equals more ISK flowing, which I think is very true.
It is true.
It is.
It is true. But the thing is that a lot of people now, with the amount of the limit of what you can do in Highsec at the moment, let's just say that there's a limit on what you can do there. That people will be outside of Highsec. If you want to play the game on a higher level than just log in for 45 minutes a day and do nothing else, you won't be in Highsec. It's impossible for you to play in Highsec full time.
Well, impossible maybe even to join the full scope of the game, because in
Yes.
terms of getting out there, hauling out your stuff, there's going to be some level of danger. I mean, we've got a lot of EVE Online players and a lot of players who haven't experienced EVE but are kind of new. They kind of get the gist. They maybe had experiences with other games. So I could definitely see, we're going to see probably some groups of a lot of different brawls, a lot of different mini maybe not wars is the right word, but little brawls here and there. And I almost think hauling can have that level of danger, because I could definitely see PvP corps targeting those haulers as they go on their mission to go out there. So is that possibly the case in terms of why it would be smarter to run in a group in hauling, or is hauling something that it starts out organically with an industry style corp?
When I do my personal hauling, I always have 3 accounts. Now you can do this with three people, and it's not a problem. But 3 accounts, I do it because you don't have to. It's boring as hell. One person jumping ahead and one person jumping behind your hauler. So they're just gonna have to follow you or go ahead of you to make sure there's no gate camps on either side, or make sure there's no people like Pirate or there's no people like Code following you in your freighter. You also need most people like to use a secondary account, which you can do in Echoes. But we haven't been able to test to see if it works on larger ships, because no one really got into a larger ship, is using the web to jump you instantly at the first time. So you can use, is it double web you need to use right now in EVE Online, or is it single still?
So let me explain that before.
It should depend on what you're using.
What Sovereign is talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so what Sovereign is talking about, for those who may not have tried it in EVE or may not know, is that when you go into warp, basically your ship has to reach 75% of its maximum speed in order to go into warp, which means whenever you go through a gate, you have to accelerate to that speed, and then you'll initiate warp. So that leaves you vulnerable, especially in a large ship that's usually very slow to accelerate. The workaround to this is what people came up with, is using a escort ship to use a Webifier module on your ship that basically reduces your top speed so much that you accelerate up to the 75% limit in a very, very short amount of time.
Because your acceleration doesn't change, it's still going up, but your max speed has gone down, so it hits 75% real fast.
Yeah, exactly. So that way you get your freighter, for example, into warp much quicker, leaving any hostiles a much shorter window in which to attack you.
Yes. And this will be a lot different in Echoes because we have something that EVE Online doesn't have, and that is a courier hold. A hold specifically designed for putting in packages to deliver. Like it's a separate slot. Which
Yeah, but that doesn't stop
me.
you. It doesn't stop you from webifying your freighters off the gates.
No, it doesn't. But we were moving away from Echoes and jumping straight into EVE Online territory, so I had to try and drag it back.
Yeah, I think webifying is definitely a valid tool in Echoes. I need to check actually exactly how webifying works, if it does still hit the top speed. I'm pretty sure it does. Because this is also a reason why everyone says, if you're going to target someone and tackle them, scram them before you web them, otherwise they might just warp instantly. And that's exactly what we're doing with our haulers. We will be trying and doing this in Echoes as well. So the different types of haulers. Actually, just going back to the whole, do you do it in a group or solo? If you're in high sec, I'd be going solo, but in solo is kind of a different thing. Like, if it was me, I would be and if I was starting up a large scale courier group thing, like where I wanted a lot of people to send me couriers, because you're really only going to get good profits if you're moving like 10 or 15 packages. Fill your cargo hold. You don't take one package, go halfway across the galaxy, drop it off, and expect to actually be worth your time. And that's where sitting in a trade hub and accepting all these public courier contracts is good. If you were in Jeddah and you needed to go to Omar and you were carrying a big load, you would not need escorts. You would not need help. You could just do it completely solo. You'd be fine. Also, you can load up, leave Jeddah, set your destination, hit go offline. You'll get a notification when you arrive. So that's another thing that has a huge benefit to solo hauling, or rather you hauling with a ton of alts and basically driving the price of courier contracts down to near zero. In terms of low sec and null sec, though, you do not haul in low sec or null sec if you're alone. You definitely want to have your +1, -1 scout, even maybe a PvP escort if you know you're going through dangerous space. Especially just having a group of people online that you can ping if you get tackled for whatever reason. But now, also, it's worth mentioning, sorry, just one quick. Haulers have warp core stabs, and we'll get to that in a few minutes.
I was going to say, what kind of rigs would go on these types of hauling ships? So I'm in a high sec, I did it by myself. What kind of rigs would now go on the hauling ships if I'm now going to venture out into null sec?
If you're going to be venturing anywhere out of high sec, you're going to need rigs. But it's really, the thing with rigs is dependent on the person who's using them. There is no, if you would rather not be disrupted or scrambled, you'd go one way with the rigs. Or if you didn't want to be, I'm sure Swede has literally every rig and module in his head. So I'll let him jump into that one. Because you go one way or the other. You can stop yourself from being scrammed. You can mix and match, but then you can, and some people will be against it. Some diehard EVE Online guys will be like, you can't do that. You have to specialize for one way or. But
why
you
though?
can do both. No, because it's just what's in our head.
The thing about rigs in EVE Echoes, and that's very different to EVE Online, is Echoes has no diminishing returns on rigs. Echoes is all about diminishing returns. If you put 3 rigs, I think resists are the only exception. You put 3 hyperspatial velocity optimizer rigs, that is a rig that allows you to travel faster through warp, you will have a lot better effect if you put 3 of those on your ship in Echoes than if you would do the same in EVE Online. So you can't treat rigs as the same kind of calculation if you're an EVE vet. Okay, so the different kinds of rigs. Cargo hold optimization. If you're a hauler, it's probably useless because you're probably using a cargo hold, a courier cargo hold type ship, and your optimization rig will not affect it. It will only affect your standard hold, and that's pointless. It's the same on mining ships.
Do we have So do we have that confirmed that it will not affect the career hold?
Well, we tested it in beta. I haven't yet got any update on that after.
Are you
So,
talking? Are you talking about the cargo expanders?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't affect anything but your literal cargo hold. They never.
Yep.
They literally it only affects your cargo hold. It's a weird. I don't understand. They should have always, even in EVE Online, they should have always had separate things. If you have an ore hold on a ship, you should have an ore hold cargo expander. If you have like it should. I don't know why that doesn't exist.
Well, they do. They do.
Me.
It's called skills. There
yeah, but the
skill
skills have a
bonuses
limit.
to each of the ships. They do. Of course they do. Everything does.
Yeah, but if you wanted to get your cargo hold a little bit bigger, yeah, skills make it large, but then you can rig it to make your cargo hold bigger, and that's the only thing you can rig to make bigger. So like I don't know. I never understood it personally.
So wait, are we saying that like a multiple rigs wouldn't stack in EVE Online versus in EVE Echoes?
EVE Echoes have a diminishing return, but not as bad. Rigs are very, very powerful in EVE Echoes, much more powerful than they are in EVE Online, and they're sort of easier to EVE Online is easy to get hold of the rigs now, but I'm sure back in the day when it wasn't as easy, it was probably easier to get it in Echoes as well. But they're stupidly powerful right at this moment in time. Higgs Rig, oh god, I haven't used one of them since I used to close wormholes.
So I actually did some testing with the Higgs rig in Echoes the last time we had around, because
for bumping?
EVE Online, in EVE Online, it used to be a really good rig to have in because it allowed you to warp much faster. It basically worked as a webifier. It lowered your max speed by a great deal.
So you basically didn't need an ult.
It also increased your mass a lot, but it didn't matter if you were a hauler. If you wanted to just get into warp, your mass didn't matter.
Yeah, but in Echoes, it was bugged. So I put a Higgs rig on a Terra. Actually, I put 2 Higgs rig on a Terra, and I reached negative speeds. And it took me nearly 17 minutes to reach warp going in a straight line.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, is what someone said in the chat.
I know.
It fucking killed me, man. I'm going red.
Skills make it large giggity.
Sorry. That was like that's what she said moment. I loved it. I apologize. That tickled me in the right place at the wrong time. I apologize.
Yeah.
Oh, because it sounds like if someone was a new player and they have no idea what skills are, it's like it sounds just like you're talking about when you have skill, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of like skills for a quick second, just getting off of the topic at hand, skills, like I feel they are so much simpler in Echoes, and I feel that it's going to be a lot nicer for newer players to be able to jump in the game, as a personal opinion right now, the way it works. Because I know for even now, after how many years I've been playing the game, I look at the skill tree in EVE Online and I think, like, can you imagine walking in there right now as a new player?
Yeah, EVE Online, you get a lot of like hidden, I didn't know I needed that. And or hidden, I didn't realize that would make me so much more effective. There's a lot of that.
And it's like you do 365 days of skill queue, and then like you realize the next day that you need an extra skill. And
I just wish they had more than 1 day's worth of skill queue in Echoes. Please, just come on.
See, I have a different opinion just because I am a completely new player into this world. I think there's a lot of interesting concepts in EVE Online. It's just that there are a lot more people who have mobile phones. So being able to play a similar game on a mobile device is going to be game changing. I had no idea about EVE Online. It's not that it didn't exist. It's that I didn't know about it until I played a mobile game in a similar genre. And, you know, lo and behold, now I'm kind of geared towards EVE. And one of the reasons for that is I love the community. I think the community is badass. And I mean, we're talking about logistics and hauling. People have applied the things they've learned in a game like this to actual world businesses. Like, it really does have so much more capacity of type of gameplay when you compare it to other games. So in terms of like EVE Online, it's, yeah, it might be a little overwhelming for me to see the skills and whatnot, but I think I'm attracted to Echoes because it's new. It's a fresh sandbox. I feel like I can build my little sandcastle and be fine. I can learn all the ins and outs of logistics without having to join a team who is already fully set up. I can be the idea person and we can create the team and we can have that type of gameplay. So I don't know. That's just kind of my perspective on the two games. I think I'm more excited to see both of them come together and come into the community. And I'm interested to learn some of the stuff that EVE Online players have learned about hauling and logistics. Because, I mean, it's going to be a free-for-all. We're going to go into EVE Echoes, and it is going to be people racing out there to get land. They're going to be, racing their cargo out there. You're going to have, like, pirate gangs just PvPing. Like, I just see it just being, like, content after content. And I'm kind of interested to know more about logistics and hauling in the sense of people are definitely going to have alliances and you're going to definitely have to transport goods here and there. So, like, what can we expect in terms of the beginning, like especially Swede, since you said you played beta in EVE Online, what do you think that we could expect in terms of the game is just about to start? How do people act when they're hauling? Like, what trends do you see then that
EVE
we might
Online is a different beast, man. When EVE Online first started in beta, there was nothing. That game was bare bones, like nothing.
Well, and this might just
and aside from you revealing how old I am.
I'm not that old. I'm all right.
No, but she said that she revealed that I was in EVE Online beta, which was 18 years ago, which makes me really.
It's all right. I was 12. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Wait. In gaming world, you technically have the highest dev of all of us, so that's something to celebrate.
And honestly, I'm just pulling your leg. I really don't mind because I'm old as fuck, but it's okay. Most days I'm like 12 anyway. So the back in the day in EVE, no one really knew what the potential was back then, right? We had this sandbox and we didn't really know exactly how much of a sandbox it could be. It was wide open and it took time to explore and discover all of this. Going into Echoes, just look at the community that Echoes has before the game has even launched. Look at the planning that goes into it. Look at the organization. This is not going to be that same sort of, I wonder what we have here. This is going to be a group of people going in, going, I know what I could do in EVE Online. Let's see if I can make it better, faster, harder in Echoes.
That's what she said.
And then we have, that's. Yeah,
just give it to me. Just let me have it. Let me have that one.
Mic. Drop the mic. Walk away. You got it.
I'm not walking away. I had to. That's the only one I'm allowed for the entire show. Then I won't say anything else. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah. So in that way, it's going to be a very different beast. And when we look at hauling, we know what we could do in EVE Online. We've seen what the potential is in EVE Echoes, but there's also how to make use of this. I mean, in EVE Online, you could make an absolute fortune running between two high-sec trade hubs, buying something in one place, hauling it to the other, and selling it at 1 ISK more for each item. But you hauled in a day 50 million or 100 million of that item and sold them quickly. And you did the same thing on the way back, right?
Yes. There is actually a quick question in here, like he doesn't fully understand hauling mechanics and he never got to try it in EE. Is there any tutorial about it? I personally myself didn't do a tutorial and I haven't seen a tutorial on the hauling, mainly because in the beta everyone was exploiting it. I say everyone, like I personally wasn't. And let me write what's the time right now? No, I actually didn't do it. Like I personally didn't. I didn't even know it existed until the day before it got shut down. Like I didn't know it was there. I didn't know it was there, so I couldn't do it. Just because someone accused me of exploiting the game as a moderator. Like I didn't exploit the game.
hauling is really just moving anything from A to B, and just how well you do it and what you do in terms of moving stuff depends on what ship you're using. You know, you could jump in a noob ship, move an item like a 1 titanium from Amar to Jeddah, you'd be hauling. Technically, you're hauling.
Yes.
But realistically, people don't do that. They jump into ships designed to do it, and they pick up public courier contracts, and that's through the trade hub, or rather through the market system and ITCs.
But here's a little bit of advice for anyone who hasn't hauled before, and probably the best advice that you'll ever have. If you are not hauling heavy objects, if you are hauling BPCs, blueprints, if you are hauling very light objects, get in an interceptor. Get in a small instant warp frigate. You do not need to be in a Terra. BPCs are probably going to be some of the most expensive, considering you have to break down, reverse engineer most things above what, tier 4 or 5? I think they said it was. Anything above tier 5, I think, yeah, no, it's so anything above destroyer has to be reverse engineered to get the BPC for. They will not be on the market apart from the trainers, obviously. So those BPCs are going to be expensive. Just stick them in an interceptor, fly them in a frigate. Don't worry about, like, you don't have to be in a Terra to move blueprints. Just my 2 cents.
So that was the next point, was using the appropriate ship for the job. Yeah,
Yes.
Using a scepter is not only going to be more secure because you're going to get there without getting killed, most likely, you're going to get there faster. So there's no point putting in small items in a massive hauler because you just don't need to do that. It's also like, if you're going to move planetary resources, they're actually relatively small in terms of their mass, and they are, I was moving those in a Cloaky Heron. What was Heron? It's one of the Covert Ops ships.
Yeah.
I expanded the hold on the Covert Ops ship, and I put all of my cargo of my planetary resources in there, and I was moving billions in a small ship such as that because they were just worth so much for their mass. So I didn't go for a big, shiny, slow-ass hauler. I went for something small and easy. But then again, I'm dealing in nullsec where everything is dangerous. You have to watch your back all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like recently, like if we go to a massive loss, because no one's really lost anything in Echoes yet, but if we go to a massive loss recently in EVE Online, someone tried to haul billions of ISK worth of blueprints in an Orca and lost it. Billions. It was 15 years of his life in industry making all, because in the BPs, just be thankful the blueprints are not the same in Echoes as they are in EVE Online. You have to individually research each and every blueprint in EVE Online to raise their material efficiency and it's unless you buy it.
I'm gonna take you back a bit, because I think the blueprint copies, in terms of their quantity and value per series of copies, if you were to carry like 10 blueprint copies, you're probably looking about the same value in respect to a blueprint original in EVE Online. I think you're going to find there's a lot of value in a mass of blueprint copies.
There is,
because there are
the comparative work that it takes to make copies in Echoes is huge compared to what EVE Online is.
Yes.
But the thing is, in EVE Online, every gate has someone who's just sitting there and scanning ships. Everyone knows what you're hauling in EVE Online. Now, I don't remember seeing ship scanners in EVE Echoes, so no one knows actually what you're hauling. So they're just going to kill you for the sake of killing you.
I did find out the devs did mention ship scanners may be a thing.
Okay.
Ooh,
Maybe. There's not 100% of a confirmation on that one, but they did say in open chat, so I can say it. I'm not releasing any information I shouldn't be from the current testing that we're doing, but they did say in the open chat that there may be ship scanners. For those who don't know, a ship scanner is a module you activate, and it will show you what is in your target's hold. So
More than that, it also shows their fit, which is actually
fit and everything. It is important, but they do. Like, you can then decide, the way that EVE Online does their things is they work on an honor system where they will scan a ship, and if the ship is holding nothing of value, they won't blow it up. They won't blow it up.
Oh, shit.
They won't blow it up. Inverted fingers, because I've had so many arguments with EVE Online players, and they say they don't kill new players. Don't kill new players. But like like it's good for some people because eventually one day you're going to run into a pirate gank and they might be role playing, and they might turn around and say like, let me see what's in your cargo hold. They'll scan you, you got nothing, and they'll let you go on your way. Give us 100 mil ISK or we'll blow you up.
Look, ransoming never works. You give them money to blow you up anyway.
I do it. If I ransom, I won't blow someone up. There are people who won't do it, but there are a lot of arseholes who will. Like,
I made a fortune, and I made a reputation of being a low-spec pirate who ransomed people, and I did let them go if they paid, and I pudded their behinds if they didn't. And people knew this, so if I caught them and asked for ransom, they paid, and I let them go every time.
And this will be a big thing in EVE Echoes now because they added jet canning, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know what jet canning is, it's when you get your loot from your hold and you throw it in a can and throw it into space. You poop it out the back of the ship, for anyone who doesn't know what jet canning is, and it leaves a can in space that can be stolen or taken, and that may add a nice role-playing element to pirating, or you could just get blown up, as Sam said.
It also enables all kinds of mining ops as well now. So we can have hauling in the aspect of having a dedicated ship on field with a bunch of miners. All of the miners just poop out all of their ore when they've collected it, and the hauler loots it, takes it to the station.
Actually, I'm quite curious, Fish. What would you do as a new player if someone came up to you and said, "Throw your stuff out the back of the ship, or we blow you up"?
I mean, a magician never reveals their secrets.
Because, like, from because we know, like, even players who are MMO veterans or people who have played MMOs before, not just EVE Online, people know you can't really trust someone when they say we won't blow you up if. But if you go in, like,
I just walk away.
I'd probably stall as long as I could, call on my team and be like, "Get your ass out here! I've hooked one."
Best answer from literally the new player is the one who gave the correct answer. How fucking mad is that? You call for backup, you stall them motherfuckers until your guild or your corp turns up to mess them up. That's how it works. That's how it should work. But most pirates, if they know what they're doing, will blow you up before that mark. But it is the best option.
The difficulty is if you're not set up for tanking, you're dead in a few seconds. It's really no time at all.
Yes.
But this is where warp core stabs comes in.
You know, you know what? Like, I was thinking, like, this is weird. I had a dream about this, okay? And I was stopped by pirates while I was running through. I was flying my orca through, and I was stopped by pirates, and I pretended that I wasn't fit with warp core stabs because I didn't know about the ship scanner at the time. And I just, like, I was like, you've got me, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, I was slowly building up speed, and they thought they had me because obviously they can't scan my ship. And I was like, "Oh, please don't blow me up, please don't blow me up." And it got to like the 40-second mark when you've got up to speed, and I just walked off. And they were like in the chat going, "Ah!" It was the greatest dream ever.
So
just completely outside of reality, though.
Even Freud would say you have issues.
Of course, I have issues, man. I'm living, breathing EVE right now.
We all are.
Yeah.
Anyway, a warp core stabilizer is a module or a rig that enables you to bolster your ability to warp through the effect of a warp scrambler or disruptor. So a pirate will come up to you, they'll lock on your ship, and they'll warp, scramble, or disrupt you, and that basically stops your ability to get into warp. A warp core stabilizer is the counter to that. It is the module that you can fit that can, enable you to warp. It's a one-to-one basis. So a guy comes up to you and scrams you, he'll take you down one level. You can put on a warp core stab, it'll take you up one level. You need one level to warp, and you just keep playing that plus and minus game until either you do or you don't warp. Your rigs are passive. They automatically give you the bonus. Whether you are offline hauling or online hauling, you will have the bonus from your rigs. Your modules will require to be activated. So this is, you don't activate them after you've hit the warp button because it gets cancelled and everything. You click the buttons, then you try to warp, and you either do or you don't, depending on the result.
If it's a Gamma or a Orthrus. If it's a Gamma and Orthrus,
Legion.
you're screwed, mate. Like just you're
That's entirely not true. But yes, you definitely have a much harder time. Your Orthrus has a +6 in total if he's fully skilled, and if he has 2 modules, then he's got
it's 10
+12.
points,
However,
right? Yeah, 12. So
yeah, but the thing is, I can get more than that with a hauler. It's really easy. Like it costs the moon, but it's really easy.
I thought it was like I thought the maximum of Fish. I thought the maximum of a mining ship was 9.
Let me see, 3 rigs. So you
Venture
got
3.
12,
13,
12
14,
from rigs.
15, 16, 17 on a mining I can get.
So,
Thing
yeah,
is,
how much did that cost you?
Oh, yeah. I'm not talking about reality. I'm saying it's possible.
Oh, okay, cool. Fish, what were you going to say? Sorry.
I was gonna say, so in my team, we refer to ships that don't have rigs on them, like in reference to hauling. Those are called a naked bee. That means they don't have any rigs on them. Sam, do you think that there is any circumstance where people should jump the gun and they've just got the ship, they've got the modules? Should they rush out and just fly it? Is that risky? Is it worth it to wait and get the rigs?
It depends on where you are.
The first rule of EVE Echoes as well as EVE Online. Can anyone here in chat or in the video tell me what the first rule of EVE is? Come on.
Yeah, I got it. I know the answer. Let me answer it.
Right.
Can
Go
I
on,
answer
then.
it?
Never fly when you can afford to
Don't
lose.
play it and you'll win the game.
Oh, so.
If you don't play Eve,
No,
you win.
no,
Fish has
no,
it right. Never fly what you can't afford to lose.
Fish is always right. I'm just the shit talker.
Yeah.
But but honestly, you can't spell risk without ISK.
Oh.
So
Now, back to your question. If you had the ship, would you just jump in and fly it? It depends on the stage in the game. If you're first day and you just want to get that hauling done in your own high sec, absolutely. If you're 2 months down the line and everyone's relatively established in nullsec and you're in nullsec, absolutely not. You should have access to rigs. You should have some stuff. If you buy a ship, you should have a fit that you can get from the market. The thing is, depending on the area of space that you live in, depends on whether you're going to have access to these navigation rigs or not. They may be available where you live, or they may be super expensive to import. Depending on the situation, because warp course optimizers, warp course stabilizer rigs and modules, they don't drop very easily. They're hard to make and they're expensive. You can use, they come in 4 levels and they give 1 level per at each point. So you can use, let's say you've got 3 rig slots. You can end up with 12 points of warp core stabilization, but that's very, very expensive. Yes, you're probably absolutely certain to warp every time if they don't alpha you off the field, but you're really only buying the level 1, which is going to give you a +3, and that's realistic. Now, the other rigs that you can actually use are things like your hyperspatial velocity optimizers. If you've got a really big system that you're warping through, how long is it going to take for you to actually warp across those 100 AU to get from one side to the other to get to the other gate? That can equate to massive savings of time of trying to get from one side of the galaxy to the other, because you're just going to save so much time in your warp speed. The other one is your polycarbon engine housing. How fast do you get into warp? Your agility to align and warp. So that with your interceptors, your polycarbon engine housing is a great thing, because your ability to speed up and get into warp is what you want. In terms of a large hauler, I really wouldn't care. It's just like hauling for me has never been a speed activity. It's more just been a do it. It's done when it's done.
Sorry, I'm just answering a question. Apologies.
When it comes to the rigs, so there's many different ways of building your ship for many different advantages, all from agility to warp core stabilizers to hyperspace velocity rigs. You have speed rigs, although they are actually counterproductive because it takes you longer to get into warp. But here's also one thing to keep in mind. There are 2 kinds of rigs in EVE Echoes. So all of these rigs that we're talking about, they go into the engineering rig slots. meaning that you have to decide on what suits your purpose for the time being.
What's the other slot? There's engineering slot. What's the other one?
So are they called power rigs?
rigs, engineering
Power?
rigs, and I can't remember what the other one is right now off the top of my head.
There's only two, so it may be power rigs. I can't remember
No.
the exact name either.
It is power rigs.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3.
So no.
No. Is that new information? No.
No, it's not new information. Don't worry about it. That's not new information. Do not. No, it's not. I literally, I was thinking. For some reason, my brain was thinking that there were the 3 slots, not the
high,
2
high, mid, and low
types.
slots.
My brain was somewhere else. Apologies. There is no leaked information. Do not link that shit.
Clip it good.
Well, actually, if you link it, all you're going to end up doing is promoting the stream. So sure.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Link it, and then I'll get fired.
we need to put something up on YouTube with a nice, one of those screenshot going Sob reveals all, or some other clickbait sort of title for
I
it.
should get on the clickbait train because I don't utilize it enough because it does work, but I don't utilize it.
No, you can always figure out a different strategy. If you don't want to do what everyone else is, you just have to create a better strategy. There's always a way.
I try to be I just get so stuck on the OCD side of naming videos that I have to put what's in the video in the title without saying, this is the best information ever. You'll never hear this anywhere else. Sov gets naked live on TV. It's I can't do that sort of thing. Benzi does it and he does it really well.
Well, it's all about
Benzi
strategy. It's about ranking for a keyword. I mean, that's
Yeah.
for people who are EVE players, it's all about strategy and strategic thinking. If you know something is going to probably get a higher rank for a long tail keyword, why not use your knowledge to try to test that?
I do understand how it works. I mean, I do understand why people do it. Benzi's really good at it. For example, Talking in Stations does it as well sometimes with the what they write in the thing. But you take over the YouTube channel, right?
For me, I'm the head of marketing with Talking in Stations.
So you do a lot of the YouTubing stuff now on Talking in Stations.
Yeah, we're trying out a new avenue because I'm kind of interested to hitting more people in that are interested in EVE. Again, I kind of really like the EVE Online and EVE Echoes. I think EVE Echoes is going to give new players a real great foothold to establish the sandbox. Whereas a player who's interested in the world, but for EVE Online, for me, is a little intimidating. And I'm pretty honest about that. I think it's interesting. It's just damn, I don't see myself becoming any overlord of a alliance or corporation there anytime soon. Whereas in Echoes, it's I know I can go out there with my boys, we can find our space, and we can kind of do our thing, we can establish ourselves. So with Echoes, I definitely think there's that level to grow.
Skippy actually came up with a really good point in the comments, which I answered and then forgot to actually say. He said the best way to haul is to pay someone else to do it.
Yep.
That's a good point.
Hence, blue frog, red frog, and black frog.
If you want to haul in this game, because hauling is with the offline autopilot. If you want to haul in HiSec, and you can make okay money hauling from one side of HiSec to the other, hauling data cores from one side of HiSec to the other side of HiSec where they don't have the same stuff and they need to move stuff over, and you can make money off of that, and you're really good at it, and you start to learn routes and ways to go within low sec and null sec, you will make an absolute crap ton of money. Absolutely crap tons.
And considering that you get rewarded for doing the contracts that other players put up,
the money comes out of thin air, right? As well. Just as a point for the courier.
Some of it.
So you do actually get paid random ISK.
Yeah.
Yes, but there's still a fair chunk that comes from the person who contracted his wallet. I want to find out exactly how collateral works because in EVE Echoes in the beta it was broken.
Yes.
You would buy something and the collateral was based on the average market value of the item, and people just didn't care about, or they didn't worry too much And also, I was really annoyed that if you were couriering something and you looked at a package, you would instantly destroy the courier contract.
Yes.
If you would open the package, the contract would be destroyed, and you could not put that package back together and then deliver it. Which means, and sometimes it even happened by accident. You just double clicked on it, and that was it. It was open. Contract lost.
I
And it's just that now you don't even know who you were contracting it for. You've got their items. You can't even get that item to them because you made the mistake. Now you just own the item and you pay the collateral, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, or like when they took out the collateral completely and people were just stealing everyone's shit at one point in the beta. But there's... See, I understand why you shouldn't be able to look into a package, because a package is like, if you go to any courier system, Royal Mail in the UK, you got US, what is it, USPS?
FedEx or UPS.
You don't,
or...
like, as a delivery man, you don't open someone's box and say, oh, I'll have that one. Like, it's just,
then you should, when you're hauling it, should say, do you want to cancel this contract? Are you sure? Then you're able to open it, instead of the other way around by accidentally canceling the damn thing.
Yeah, but then like the way that you can't be able to scam people anymore, which I don't know if which will be viable in, because even contracts will get audited. So I don't know.
Well, that's the other major thing with EVE Online, is that when you're hauling, people scan you, they can see inside the container. So that means that they know if you're hauling something, it's not just an instant cover.
Unless you're shrink wrap, right?
There was some mechanics, but if you didn't do it right, you still got screwed. It's this variable. I always just went straight for the blockade runner if I didn't want to be seen, because you can't scan inside a blockade runner.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. I only use blockade runners. Blockade runners are my favorite. I wish. Did they have it in Echoes? I didn't check.
Well, they were there. They just went.
They had. Yeah.
I didn't check the actual blockade runners.
Terra Mark II is a badger, effectively.
Okay, and did they have the covert ops?
Yeah. Well, I need to check the raw bonuses again. I think so.
I don't remember checking. I didn't check, to be honest.
Yeah, they had the combat badger.
We couldn't tell because they were so high tech.
Yeah.
Wait, so a quick question. So when it comes to modules that are used in dangerous zones, like say I am flying a hauling ship and I use a warp core stabilizer, what could someone use to combat that rig?
They use the opposite side. Yeah.
Warp scrambler or bubble.
You can use two. You can use two of the same. So if you have 3 mid slots, you can use 3 disruptors, and you can raise the points of the amount. Like, it's not viable for the most part. It is, but it isn't. 10
guys do the same thing.
Yeah.
10 guys take you won't move.
Yeah. So
well, I say that.
Yeah.
In the Black Rise fights, we were really struggling to hold them down, and that's because they were using high level modules. They were using tier 4 rigs, which gave them +4, and they were using multiples, and
30.
they were using officer walk core stabs, I think, which gives you pluses more than just
we needed 11 points to lock them down. That was the magic number.
Shall I dispatch the welcoming drones?
Okay, interesting.
Like, because if you have 10 people and those 10 people have 1 point each, even if they have the shittiest scrambler, non-officer, non-faction scrambler, because faction scramblers give you 2 points and then officer give you 4? Nina said it earlier. Nina said that officers give you 4 points. I think.
She was talking about the tier 4 rigs.
Because the officer disruptors, they dropped and they gave you 4 points.
Kitty.
Yeah, officer disruptors were 4 points. So if you had 2 officers disruptors, that'd be 8 points just from 2 disruptors. If you had 4 points if you had a 4-point disruptor on all 10 of your fleet, look at that tail just in his face. If you had one of those officer disruptors on all of your ships in the fleet, you can literally hold down anyone and everything. No individual ship would be able to ever get away from that.
And how much would they cost?
The officer disruptors, no idea. I don't even know how they're supposed to get them. Like, I think they were just. Yeah. I think they were just like spawned in by the devs. I don't think they're actually even available.
You get them from
the thing is,
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, the mods are in the game. They're in the system, meaning that if they introduce, say, an officer rat, belt rat, or level 10 inquisitor officer, whatever you have, then we have them in game. That will probably be how we go about getting them. At the moment, as we are, they're not going to be available. So it's however, the Garmer and those ships are available.
Is there no T1 version of the Gamma / Orthrus with bonuses to disruptors?
The Garmer is the lowest.
There should be.
You're looking at something like the Interceptor or like
100%.
Basically, the tackle frigate should have that bonus.
They have. I know there's countless. There's quite a few ships with the web bonus, but
yeah, the carries should be the carries
disruptors.
for Caldari.
Oh, I think Interceptors had +1 strength as a roll bonus. Yeah, but that's still not that's not Gamma levels of bonuses.
But it does mean that if you put a faction disruptor on a interceptor, then it's +3. That's pretty good. That'll hold down
I had
a mining
Condor
ship.
2, yeah. I should have known that. Condor 2 was what I used at the beginning. I tried to, but that was when I first used the Condor 2. I tried to speed tank. I think it was a Caracal. I tried to speed tank a Caracal while locking it down for the rest of it. One-shot me, and I just gave up tackling because of the it was before the missiles were even fixed.
Now, before we close out the stream, I do want to talk about corporation courier contracting.
Yes.
So one of the things that is very common, like when you got a null set corp and you get a new person come in, if they know anything about Eve, they'll say, "Do you have a courier service? I have all my stuff in HiSec. I need to get it out here." And usually, then if you say yes, you'll link them to how much it costs per M3 to move it from there to here, and then you will link the person who's in charge of it. That's basically how it works. And you have a division within your corporation, and all they do is move stuff from their home to HiSec, the trade hub, and back again. And they'll be exporting stuff for their corporation to sell, and they'll be moving stuff either for importing for exotic goods or a new player joining the corporation. That's basically how it works. And then, of course, when you want to move the corporation, you activate them ×10 to get their asses moving.
Now, can anyone ever scam you if you hire some type of courier service? I mean, has anyone ever scammed someone? Like they hire someone to go out to a dangerous place and then they have their own backup?
Local chat scams are not a thing.
Is in couriers and contracting.
Yep. No.
Did you just say
local chat? Yep. Local chat scams are not a thing. But if you send me your ISK, I will send it back to you with a 10% on top of it.
Yeah, no, local chat scams are a thing, guys, and you need to avoid that shit. Don't even turn local chat on. Local chat in high populated areas, just ignore it.
Local chat have nothing to do with this. Look, corporation assets are in their most vulnerable state when they're moving from A to B. When you have corporation contracting, you don't generally engage collateral. Like if I'm gonna, as a CEO, if I'm gonna ask my hauler guys to move our 10 billion assets from here to there, I don't expect those guys to have the collateral in their banks. Sorry, let me just explain. Collateral is having the ISK on hand to accept the contract. When you accept the contract, your collateral value goes into escrow and it gets locked.
Which wasn't in the beta, right? Collateral wasn't really a thing set by players.
It was.
Yeah, but it was average.
That's right. It was not a dictatable object. We couldn't say, look, I know this blueprint copy took me fucking hours to make. I'm going to put the collateral at 10 million ISK. You couldn't do that.
It should be in there, and that should be a thing that we need to spam the suggestion box in the EVECOS Discord to add that in there. That needs. If you guys ever get 2 minutes, just jump in the suggestions channel in EVECOS Discord and say we need player placed. I've just lost the word now. God damn it.
Escrow?
No.
Security?
No.
Collateral.
Player suggestion.
Player suggestion for collateral.
So the point is that as a corporation leadership, generally you wouldn't assign collateral to contracts like that. And that was when corp thieves could come out, accept those contracts, and just F off with the gear.
Yes.
So scamming definitely very big in couriering stuff.
Booker,
You also have
in everything.
Booker has a question about how would logistics skill affect collateral?
At the moment, it's got zero effect on it, and there's only one. At the moment, there's only one skill that affects anything to do with any of it, and it doesn't affect contracts at all. Nothing affects contracts.
Collateral should not realistically, like, I understand the concept of lowering collateral based on a skill, but at the same time, the collateral is the agreement for the player to say, I'm not going to steal your goods, but I am going to have the potential to steal the whole value of the goods if I choose to. So if you don't actually get the appropriate amount of collateral out of the players who are going to be accepting these contracts, they're going to do the maths and they're going to say, yep, I'll take it. And they're just going to, if they can get 10% on every single courier contract they can get, and if they're anonymous throughout the entire process, courier contracting will go out the window because everyone will just steal everything because it's the meta.
Yes, and it was happening a lot in the beta, and they know about that. So hopefully that will be changing. But make sure to go into suggestions and put that in there.
Booker, the logistics skills gives you bonuses to your ships, and it also
there was something with the money in terms of logistics skill. I can't remember.
We're talking about logistics skill, which isn't Eve.
It is in Echoes. There is a logistics skill in Echoes.
What about this, guys?
And it's
what are
called logistics?
What are the skills?
Yeah, effective war bonuses on the ships because your hauler ships has, if you've got a logistics 5, you will have bonus to your cargo hull.
Yeah.
But there's also something to do with the contract money, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
All right. For completely new players who might not know which skills to skill up, what ones would you guys suggest are the ones they should focus on if they're interested specifically in logistics and hauling?
They need to find which hauling ship they like the look of, or like because I'm not a fan of meta. It should be used, but I'm not a massive fan because for a casual player, meta is for your more grounded, more in long-term hardcore players. If you're a casual player, do what you enjoy, fly what you like the look of, and look at the roll bonuses and the skill bonuses on the ship itself, and you can use that ship. There's no, like, if you're casually playing and you want to fly a mammoth, fly a mammoth. I hate Mimitar ships, but fly it anyway because you like it. It doesn't make any difference for the casual player.
That
my 2
actually
cents.
yeah, but that holds true for a lot of things in Eve.
Yes.
When people ask what's the best way to make money in Eve, my
Play
usual
more.
reply my usual reply is do what you enjoy, because you'll make more money doing something you enjoy for 8 hours than doing something you don't like and quitting after 30 minutes.
Unless you're good at delegation.
Well, Johnny actually said the Galente. So go on.
The skills that you should be going for in the aspect of hauling should be logistics management, accounting, and trade, because they are linked. If you're going to be doing logistics, chances are you're doing trade, and accounting is just part of that too.
Now, what do we know about Omega versus Alpha in terms of what might be locked? So you said it's logistics, accounting, and trade.
All of these as an alpha.
You'll have one ship as an alpha. One ship that is designated as a hauler. You can't use a Teyra as an alpha.
You can't?
Why not?
I don't.
Teyra,
Are they
Teyra
not tier 7?
Teyra was,
No,
they are
tier 5.
7. No, tier 5 even, yeah.
Okay, so you can use a Teyra. I was lying. I apologize. I take that back.
You can use all the normal. The ones you can't use are the advanced, the blockade runners, the combat.
Just bear in mind, though, if you're doing this as an alpha, logistics 1 to 5, you have to tick 1 skill, but your accounting and your trade is tick 5 and 4. So you're going to want to pad your skills out with other things. Probably go for industrial skills.
But the point is that even as an alpha player, you won't be able to accept contracts. 100% confirmed.
No. Yes, but how about the hauling contracts?
You can't accept any contracts. Hauling contracts, player trading contracts. Contracts are locked to alphas.
So
So
in that case,
that means,
that's what I'm doing it.
yeah, so alphas can't haul.
No, they can. They can haul for corpse because they can take stuff out of a corp hanger and haul it for a corp, but they can't do anything else.
What corp's going to give all the as-is to alphas? I mean,
They're
that's not going to happen.
It's going to be pointless.
And And more importantly, they can't put it back because alphas can't put anything into corp hold.
They cannot, no, but you can, and they can't jet can. There's no way around it. They have literally thought of every avenue to stop you from being able to do it. Like alphas
And they
cannot
also
do it.
They can't sell to the market, can they? So
They
oh,
can,
wait, they
to
can sell
the
to
ITCs, so they can put it up on the ITC. But if they do put it up in a level that's not okay with the auditing system, it could be there for a while.
Okay, so they could buy in a trade hub, move to another trade hub, and sell for a profit if it's not an extreme case.
Yeah, so many like Hype just said, so many. Yeah, that is the case. Yeah, so many limitations, all because they want to prevent RMT. Yes, and this game will not have RMT because of the amount of limitations. It will maybe have some of it, but it won't have as much as a lot of other games, like Desert, for example. And WoW Gold is still probably the most profitable of all the currencies right now. Still.
Yep.
I just like at the moment alphas still have restrictions, but they have less restrictions. And the way that like at the beginning, if you are going to try to plex your character right at the beginning without spending money and do it right at the beginning, because plex will be so damn cheap. It's going to go up at start at like, someone's going to throw it up for 1 billion ISK for the first plex because they're stupid. And then they're just going to go down and down and down and down and down and down and down until it's worth nothing because no one can buy it.
Because there'll be no ISK in game to buy it with.
Yes.
There'll be no billion ISK to buy it with. So
Yes.
There is something that we need to mention.
Yes.
Regional stations to ITC NPC deliveries.
Yes, that is also a factor in the game, and it was instant.
It is instant, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it will be instant or if they'll add a timer to it in the future. Maybe. Don't know.
What about how the calculation works? Because if I remember correctly, there was basically a minimum value, which was like 57,000 ISK, and
Yes.
then it changed based on volume, or was it estimated value, or both?
I don't. Right. So I was trading. I was sending regional to the ITC from a random station in low sec, and I was sending. Didn't even matter how much minerals I was sending. I sent 40 million tritanium. I sent 20 million mexilon, and it always cost me 400,000 ISK. Always.
Yeah.
It was just set
Sounds
at
like
400k.
So there's a maximum then. So it sounds like the
Yes,
minimum
yes,
is 57,000, the maximum is 400,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was like that was to get your items to an ITC. So hauling might not even be viable in the grand scheme of things when you can just pay the NPCs to do it instantly, unless they change it. Because once you get to an ITC, people can buy from any ITC, and then the hauling becomes a thing. I don't know if the hauling from ITCs to ITCs will be the main hauling thing, I guess. Because you can just throw it from any station.
And hauling from ITC to regional for a corporation-based thing. There's no automatic contracting as far as I knew.
No, there isn't.
But as a corporation side or a personal side, if you want to move it or someone wants to move it for you, then that.
Does anyone remember what it was? The Amicus, mobility or Interbus? What it was?
Interbus mobility, yes.
So that one was it's a frigate, right?
Yes.
So when would someone use it? Is that something you would use in the beginning of your hauling career, so to speak?
That was a seeded ship, and we didn't have to build it.
That would be something that you just go to like an ITC and buy, because seeded ships, if they are seeding, will be seeding in ITCs. They won't be seeded in regional stations, so you will have to go to ITCs, I guess.
Okay.
But
the high
mobility
Imicus. Yeah, the high mobility Imicus was. Yes, and they were used extensively in the exploit of the hauling system.
I also think that they are a ship that was actually designed for beta early game for ease of use, or were they actually legitimately meant to be? Because they were huge. Like they had a 5,000.
They had like, and before because I didn't buy one because I was using the Heron with Archaeology 4, which set at 1,400, and that was enough for me, 1,400 meters cubed, which is another viable option if you wish. But hauling contracts, I think, will only go into the designated.
Yes, that's right.
Cargo, like the delivery cargo hold. I don't think you'll be able to do deliveries in. And that's all the Amicus has. Whereas if you try to do it in a Heron, which is cheap as chips, to just jump into a random ass Heron And you can just get archaeology 4 or even 5 if you want to do it later on, because there won't be any crossover. Archaeology won't be used for a long time, apart from upgraded a Heron or any of the exploration frigates. Any of the exploration frigates cargo holds. I used the Heron as a miner when I first started. So like I was mining with a Heron because it had a big hold. I could sit there AFK on a rock. So it was like, it was easier for me that way.
Damn. Interesting. I used the cormorant. I would have a cormorant and then mine with lasers. That's what I did.
A lot of people use the cormorant because you could have an extra mining laser on it. 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can only have 1 on a Heron?
Yeah.
Question mark?
You only need enough to get your first adventure trainer.
Yes, and that didn't actually cost that well. Like, you almost screwed me up there, Sam, you son of a bitch. I almost answered in an illegal way that almost would have taken me to court, you bastard. Right, so ventures were actually easier to build when you say it wouldn't take, what, 24 hours it took to mine the minerals needed for the standard venture?
Not even that.
Like,
yeah,
so
it's way quicker.
You just grabbed it. It was easy to grab, but there is, like, we all know because the devs have now said openly that it will be a venture trainer, so we're okay to say that. But we're not okay to say the other thing that I was going to say, so I'm going to shut my mouth. But, oh, we are being followed. Thank you, Griffo Gaming 915. Apology. Thank you very much. Thank you. There are other follows which I'll get to soon. Marcus Kerensky, thank you for the follow. BDS Black Dragon, thank you for the follow. Eisenhorn. TMHI Eyes. Why do you not just call yourself Eisenhorn? What's with the Timmy?
Maybe the name was taken.
Well, yeah, because it's a very well-known player in the lore, so I guess it may be, yeah. Thank you for the follow, Trella Johan. I apologize if I ruined that name. Trella Johan, or maybe if you are Spanish descent. Branding baby, branding. Lead writer, thank you for the follow, sir. Thank you for the follow.
I like it, branding.
Branding, baby, branding. Yeah, it is branding. So when are you coming over to Sovereign States? Eisenhower.
Get off.
Sorry, what?
What? Hands off. That's my bromance.
Hey, Swede, you're already half in the door, mate. What are you talking about?
That's my bromance.
You should drag Eisenhorn halfway through the door, then we can have that like, genius, beautiful brain in both corps.
He's good where he is.
Yeah, you get his voice on loan only.
Oh, I do love a bit of Eisenhorn's brain. When I first met him, he started sending me he sent me a load of. I think the first thing he sent me was after they did the whole calculations of the beta test, and he did this insane spreadsheet. I was just like, I didn't even understand what the fuck it was.
Where he collated all the beta data into one spreadsheet.
And he's smart, and I was like, okay, thank you for that. What do I do with it?
No,
what is it?
You have to remember, there's one more thing about Eisen that is for good use. That's the pith helmet.
Yeah,
it's
all about branding.
We need the pith helmet. That's
I just think like we should all just make friends, and I can use Eisenhorn as my dirty little sex slave whenever I wish. Is that okay? Sam Brigg?
No. Mine, hands off.
Anyway, okay, let's move on from dirty little sex slaves, and we'll move on to
Battle
badges. Battle badges. Woo! Anyone? Battle badges?
Good.
I'm not excluding it, but I don't think I'll make one myself.
I don't understand it. I don't even know why they wasted resources making them.
There are combat version of all the hauler ships. Basically, they have combat bonuses to shields and weapons in some attempt to make them viable to defend themselves. The truth is, they won't be. Even with the bonuses they had, it's still a very slow, very vulnerable hauler. So maybe if you have a gang of 50,
yes,
and
I actually saw an EO video of that.
Yes,
so the battle Nereus, and they had like 7 of them, and they killed 2 guys in cruisers in Nereus. They did it.
They killed 2 faction cruisers.
Yeah, they messed them up quickly. Yeah. Not even like they fucked them up.
Because the pirates didn't think that
They
the
could do
haulers
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
So
week they're
the
getting
first
scrammed by a Nereus. I was dying when I saw that.
and neutralized, energy neutralized. They were screwed. Took them by surprise, and it became a meme, right? So hence battle badgers.
But this is the thing: if you were to take a
viable.
fleet of 10, if you were to take a fleet of 10 battle badgers and actually genuinely hauling with them, and they were fit for DPS and tank, they would probably be able to support themselves in their fight. So long as they didn't come up against a proper fleet, they'd be able to take care of like the odd guy that would try and poke them. The trouble is they're just so slow that people could catch them. They could catch up to them after knowing they came through, especially if you're in a nullsec pipeline where it's just you are like at point A, 10 jumps down the line is where you're going to exit the region at point B. By that time, they could have activated a gate camp on the other side, and they'll just be ready.
Someone took the piss out of the battle venture, okay? I killed someone in a venture the first week, so don't take the piss, all right?
They were probably AFK.
They was, but I don't care. I killed him. It was another venture, AFK in a belt, and I fucked him up.
What, just not enough all for the both of you?
No, it was, I had a drone, and he was there. I just killed him.
You're ruthless.
Did you notice when haulers when the mining barges first became available for players, when people reached that tech level, and HiSec flooded with mining barges?
Yes.
And they all had drones. Now these drones had a bug. This is why they actually introduced the whole unable to target in HiSec, because
you would kill people in HiSec with drones. The dirty bastard who figured that out.
You would send your mining drone. You would give your mining drone an attack command. That mining drone would try to attack. It would aggress you for the other player. His drones would then attack you and
automatically
come and kill you.
Oh,
it was dirty. It was dirty.
It was dirty.
It was
and
proper
so
dirty.
many mining barges was destroyed in
yes,
that.
Grammar bumping is in the game.
Yes.
Bumping is in the game, and mass is in the game. Yeah, you can do it, and it is effective. Swede done it a lot, I guess, because he's a dirty
there is actually
RNK bastard.
Yeah, maybe.
There is a valid reason for having a decent amount of tank on your hauler, even if he doesn't get into actual PvP. He needs to be able to defend against gate rats. We don't know exactly how effective gate rats are going to be, how quickly are they going to lock you down, but needs to be able to defend against that sort of thing.
Fish got me then. Fish got me. Like you got me with that. I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that. Fish can't go dry. Okay, like.
So
it's my gutter mind. I apologize. I'm coming out of it.
How many beers are you on now?
6.
Yeah, I thought so.
And I don't drink anymore. So like, this is the one night I could have a couple of drinks. So I decided to go for it, and I'm a little bit merry right now.
A little bit tipsy.
A little bit tipsy.
So, time for us to get our good questions running then.
Yes, so does anyone in the chat have any questions regarding hauling, or any questions in general for any of the special guests we have on this evening? Code is toxic. Code is, like, in my opinion, Code was a very toxic corporation that actually made it very difficult for newer players to even enter or play the game. And a lot of people will disagree with me, because they think, because like CCP back in 2015 turned around and said that ganking newer players doesn't exist.
It certainly does.
Of course it does, but people there's always the arguments there.
It's a rite of learning. You know, I got ganked when I was in my first Hulk. Like 3 months after I got my Hulk, I was just mining anywhere and everywhere in HiSec with it. And after I got ganked, I learned how Hulk ganking worked. I was amazed that I actually got through 3 months of just doing whatever, having no protection, no questions, no worries, just AFK in the belt all day, and no one killed me. So it's just, after I learned, it's like seeing the other side of the coin. And ganking taught me that. So ganking is a valuable thing to some extent.
It is to some extent, but when you're sitting there every time you come out of a station and just get blapped out of existence, like it's a very horrible thing to actually go through. I actually have, what ship do you recommend to start the game of? I'm a Mar through and through, and I have to be Minmatar now. But I love flying Amar ships. But if you're starting the game and you're a new character, you want the easiest start possible, go Caldari, go missiles, you can't fail. No matter what they do, you can't fail.
Warsnap, it also depends very much on what you want to do. If you want to be mining, industrialist, if you want to be a ratter, if you want to be PvP.
PvP or PvE, just go Caldari. Missiles, no, it doesn't matter what anyone says to you. Like, it's going to win no matter what.
What if you're not sure? What if you're not sure if you want to do indie or PvP? Is there kind of a way you can meet in the middle?
Tutorial.
Yeah. But also, just alts.
Yeah. Like, you've got another 2 characters you can mess around with. If you feel like you've gone one way and you're not really interested in it, but you don't want to go another way on that particular character, then you can start
the last thing you want to do is go heavy PvP and then jump into indie on the same turn.
No.
And if you are the kind of person who's going to want to jump into games and go a little bit more hardcore, if you're the kind of person who's happy to put a bit of money into games, most definitely start with more than one account. Start with a bit of COG, maybe COG 2, and just give yourself a bit of a head start thinking that if you're slightly interested, you're going to jump in. Also, try EVE Online now and just have a quick look at how the gameplay works and think, what if this was slightly simplified but generally the same? What would I think of this game?
Okay, but we're not talking like 10 alt accounts. Like 10 alt accounts is like overboard a bit.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
unless
I'm like waiting to see everyone's reaction.
You're gonna have a minimum of 15 accounts, right?
It depends. It depends how well my Patreon goes.
Yeah,
as to how many corp alts I can make for CEO. Basically.
Okay, so if you're not interested in playing tons of alts, you can also get lots of other team members, and the team members can specialize, I guess. So it's
absolutely.
Absolutely great way for playing EVE Echoes is to do it in a corp as a group of friends, and you all specialize in one thing or another. If you're all playing, if you've played a game together in the past and you've played this game for a long time together, and you're looking to go to EVE Echoes, if you specialize in different ways, like you'll have someone who specializes in PvE to get all your recs, someone who likes a bit of industry goes into industry, someone who likes a bit of PvP will be a defense person, and blah blah blah. There is ways that you can actually set up corps that way, and it will work. Like it will work as a small group in, say, high sec and low sec. But if you want to go and start like getting sovereignty in null sec, a small group like that won't generally work unless you're talking maybe 50 to 100 members to hold sovereignty, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Wait, 50 to 100 with alts?
No, that's you need 50 to 100 players.
Oh yeah, but that's kind of like small.
It is small. It is small in the general scheme of things, and it's quite easy to do. And if you make friends with some of the bigger alliances around you without having to join them, opposing force, if you like make friends with them, then they'll help you when you need it. Like, make friends. EVE isn't all about ruining people's lives.
The difficulty is what we're talking about is like 50 to 100 people, 150 people holding down sub. It's not for many people, but it's like you take 50 people, you add all their alts, corpus full. Done.
Yeah.
You can't it's you're going to be looking at multiple corporations if you're going to want to hold down Solve. It's pretty much a standard.
You need to have like everything, like to the whole Solve and to be in nullsec. You also need to have bigger friends than yourself. As Stu Hook said in there, the key thing is friendships. The closest large alliance to you, not all of those alliances want to go around killing everyone. They actually would like certain things. If they can get something out of you, if you are an industry corp, for example, and you're in nullsec and you want to take this little bit of sovereign and you're building ships, but that large alliance wants to do more of a PvP side of things, they just say to them, look, we'll give you better rates than you'd get anywhere else. We'll give you like 80% JITA, for example. That's a saying that you'd have in EVE Online because JITA doesn't really make any sense anymore because of ITCs. But like if 80%, I'll give you 80% of what the average cost of that ship is. Just make us blue. Look after us if we get in a bit of trouble. Bang. Bob's your uncle. You now have bigger friends. Someone comes along and tries to mess with you. Bat signal. Call your friends in. They'll come in. They'll mess people up. Like, that's what you need to do as a smaller group. If you want to be a smaller group and you want to go into nullsec and you have no friends, you're as good as dead.
I don't necessarily think so. I mean, I think when you just come into the game with tons of allies, like you've never seen people fight, you haven't seen what they can do, you haven't seen them prove themselves. And I'm always a fan of actions speak louder than words.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely want to have, smart alliances, but just becoming friends with everybody because you're scared to learn how to PvP, I don't necessarily think is the best route.
It's not scared to learn how to PvP. Some people just enjoy playing Farmville. There's no PvP in Farmville, but there is Farmville and Eve Echoes. Some people just don't want to fight other people. They want to go into the logistics side of things. They want to play Space Trucker. They want to play Trucking Simulator 2020. They want to play Industrial Corp. They want to play Satisfactory, for example. Not everyone wants to be a PvP player, and that could be entire corps of people. Corps will drag in other people of similar interests.
Yeah, definitely. So finding a good team, finding a really good team. So there's some teams that are kind of more all inclusive. They include all the all the skill. They include the logistics, the indie, the PvP. But then other corps really specialize. You've got those merc gangs. You have your fully kind of industry style. I mean, I think it would be awesome to see people specialize in industry for just rigs or for just specific modules. Like, I think we're going to be able to see that after the free for all. I think maybe for a couple months when it first comes out, there's going to be that land grab. But then after that, it'll be interesting to see when people settle who specializes beyond skill, who specializes as a corp in specific rigs or modules.
Thing is, corporations are a lot like an individual character. You do not start Eve thinking your character is going to be a jack of all trades, because you will be a master of nothing. If you do that with a corporation, you're going to find the same. If you try to start a corporation thinking, I'm going to do everything, I'm going to have sovereignty, nullsec, I'm going to have PvP, I'm going to have industry, I'm going to be the king of the trade hub, you'll end up just spreading yourself so thin in every single direction, you won't be able to get anywhere. You can have an alliance that has individual corporations that has all of the aspects, but it takes a lot of time to develop. At the start of the game, trying to do everything is going to make you master of nothing.
Yeah, but that's only if you want to specialize in a specific corp. If you want to become a master of a coalition, you do have to learn all of those trades.
To some degree, yes. Delegation.
She does make a point. She does make a point. But the way my corp is going at the moment, we are going to be a PvP corp, but we are starting off with a focus into industry. So we know that industry is going to be our main thing right at the beginning. There will be, because we want to be self-sustaining and we want to be able to build our own ships and we want to not have to buy from other things, because we're going to be out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. So we're not going to have ITCs next door to us. So we need to be able to build our ships. We're going to be in low sec. If anyone wants to join Sovereign States, by the way, Discord in the description of my YouTube channel when you see it. Or if you want to join Trimark, who's also Sovereign States. Trimark's one of the states. Just saying.
Oh really?
I didn't hear you say it wasn't. And we also have OBS, what is your focus in OBS actually?
So we actually have a little bit of a different recruitment process. We kind of like to put people into a slot and test them out as a trial period, just because we really focus on team culture. So we are mostly going to be focused on PvP and potentially expanding a little bit into industry or spending some focus in industry. And not every applicant makes it. So if you apply to OBS, it's just not every applicant gets to make it into the team. There is a little bit more of a rigorous recruitment process.
I just realized something.
Fair enough. What's up?
That I've been a part of all three of these groups. I flew with OBS in Alpha. I'm part of Trimark, and I'm part of Sovereign States. What the hell, man?
Because you're an absolute
you're just a
whore.
slut.
Yeah, you're a slut. What can you do? There's no slut shaming here, but you are a slut.
Yeah, I'm proud of
You're a corp slut. You're the corp bicycle. Let's put it that way. That's a nice way of putting it. There are different types of corps.
I have a nice ass, and people want it.
Just for anyone's information, who Sovereign obese mark. What the fuck? Right. So just to put things into perspective, Trimark is not one of the states. If anything, Sovereign States is one of the Trimarks. I guess.
Yeah, that
Is there
makes
3 of
sense.
I
them?
don't know.
Who are the
Uh,
three? Who are the
Trimark
3
armor
marks?
Trimark armor pump.
Yeah, but who are
Agree.
the 3? Who are the 3 marks?
The back end and the lore is to be decided. We'll
Okay, cool.
we'll write something later.
Trimark armor pumps. Yeah, no, it's no worries. Do you want to do a quick Trimark thing on here? We have everyone else talking about their corpse. Join sovereign states. We're open, and there's no payment required. You can get just join sovereign states. So, do you want to talk about Trimark Heavy Industries, sir?
In terms of what hauling.
No, just in terms of in general, because we're starting to slow down on the stream, and we're going to start closing down very shortly. So we're just doing the closing down speeches.
Yeah, Trimark Heavy Industries, or Trimark because CCP/Nudis is a pain in the ass. We are going to be a nullsec corporation, though we are considering now maybe having a high-sec division as well. So we're looking at, we started looking at it as it may be a necessity, just for new player interaction and other bits and pieces. We're focusing on the industry side, but we're not afraid of fighting people at the same time. We're happy to show some teeth. We are going to have a PvP division. We are just not sure exactly how strong and dedicated it's going to be. We are interested in teaming up with allies, but we need to figure out how this release is going to work and who is actually going to be in our best interests to ally with.
Are you guys currently allied with anyone already?
We have open communication lines with various set of groups. So, for example, Sovereign States is I'm going to say close to Sister Corp. We're pretty much in growth together in various. We're always in communication with what we're doing and how we're interacting. We have open communication lines with a number of corporations that we're just really just waiting to see how we're going to develop, how the game is going to open, and what it's going to look like.
Cool, awesome.
Cool. Also, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Opposing Force Alliance because they are actually part of our little crew. But Doomsy couldn't make it today because of a small issue with the family matters, so he couldn't make it tonight. I apologize for that. But Opposing Force are one of the crew, one of the neutral parties in our sort of streaming party that we have.
Doomsy couldn't make it, so you got the corpse slot instead. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we like. Who else is sitting there waiting to be on a stream in the middle of the night? The slut.
I wasn't. But
I'm joking. I take that back.
I know, it's all good.
Where are you starting asking for a friend? What? Who are you asking where you're starting? Sovereign is a testicle. What did I hear? Sovereign is a testicle. Okay.
What?
I am a testicle.
He said Sister Corp, but almost close.
So Sovereign is a Sister Corp / testicle. I can be a Trimark testicle.
Trimark is going to be starting in high-sec, and we're going to be moving to low-sec and then null-sec.
Yes.
Exactly what region we're going to be moving into, we don't know yet. It's all so much is up in the air in terms of game mechanics, where other alliances are going, who's going to be in the game, who isn't. It's so unknown.
Very true.
Thank you for the sub, Grammatic. Thank you. That's a beautiful thing you just did. Thank you. So basically, what Sovereign States is doing, we're just going to go straight into low sec. Low sec from the beginning. We're going into a true sec, null sec system, and we're going to build from there in a very. I'm not going to say what. Okay, Blood Raiders. We're going Blood Raiders. Okay, that's it. Come and join us. We'll make all the money.
Okay, no, I'm cutting you off, man. No more stream or talking for you, so mute your mic right
storage
now.
capacity received.
I'll interject and give a little bit about Obsidian. If you guys are interested in joining a primarily PvP corp that is going to focus a little bit in the industry, learn a little bit more about the game. Similar to what Sam said, there's so many game mechanics that we aren't 100% sure of. And so our team is really focused on team culture. We want to kind of fly with our bros. We like to just kind of have a good time. For us, fleets are not collectibles. So if you're interested in joining Obsidian, feel free, hit me up, and we can integrate you and see if you guys are a right fit. But yeah, I think similar to what Sam said, we we don't know what to expect. What we do know is that the developers are very receptive to feedback, and compared to any other mobile game I've ever played, that's just never been the case. It's always, you know, not really responsive. And with these devs, it seems like they're really, really responsive to feedback. So it's exciting, and I do urge you guys to check out teams, because really teams make the difference in this kind of game.
Yes, it does.
And Sweet, I mean, you played literally beta for EVE Online. That's insane. I can't imagine what it's like for you to see EVE Online from beta now to EVE Echoes alpha and beta, and then, you know, now we're coming close to launch for the game. So it's exciting. I think there's going to be so many more players who are interested, but the real ones who are going to stick are the ones who bring in the team. Again, you know, not bashing alts, but you know, the players with like 10 different accounts, it's not going to be as rewarding as that experience it is when you have that team of 10 different people, one tackling, you know, one scouting, you know, a few I mean, everyone knows you've got to have a few logi, because sometimes you got different time zones, but it's, you know, having that opportunity to find a really good team fit, that's going to be the difference between an amazing experience.
Logi pilots are the best.
I agree.
I
absolutely agree with having a team. I started out as a solo pirate pretty much in EVE, and then because I was the only one I knew who was playing, and then later on I moved on and joined corps and alliances, and these days I rarely play solo, at least not if I can avoid it. So I absolutely agree with finding a corporation, finding a gang that you get along with, that you have fun with, and you go and explore the game. If you're new to this, it's a true sandbox. You can do just about anything you can imagine. Look at EVE Online. It's grown to become a beautiful beast, and EVE Echoes will have the same potential to do. So find a group and enjoy the game to the fullest. Right? That's probably the best advice I can give in regards to that.
There's an old saying in EVE Online. In EVE Online, when you join, you don't stay in EVE for the game, you stay in EVE for the corp, for the players you play with.
Yeah.
That's what keeps you in the game. That's not even just EVE Online, that's MMOs in general. You play games for years and years because of the friendships you make. Playing solo is perfectly fine, and I know people who love playing solo. Nina loves playing solo, but I dragged her ass into a corp because she needs to play for 10 years. We actually need to start cutting it off now because I haven't had any dinner and it is midnight. So I need to start getting food ready, kids in bed, baths and all this kind of stuff, because in Spain, no one has dinner until 11 p.m. So we need to start moving on. So I'm going to say goodbye for myself. I'm going to say goodbye. If everyone would like to say goodbye in the stream, thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you. And I did want to give a shout out to Stu Hook. I know you're a new player interested in EVE Echoes. Be sure to join out the EVE Discord, the EVE Echoes official Discord. And yeah, it would be awesome to see you and some of the stuff that your team wants to create for the community. Tomorrow, I am doing a stream for Talking in Stations. It's going to be geared towards epic players of EVE. And we will have a kind of collaborative discussion on what race is your favorite and which one you should choose if you're a new player. Why? And it really doesn't affect gameplay. It's mostly going to be about lore. But yeah, so that's going to be tomorrow around, 9 p.m. UTC.
Fantastic. I'm going to be there because I love a bit of lore. So if everyone should jump in there. I was actually going to ask you if you have any EVE Echo stuff coming up on Talking in Stations. I was actually on Talking in Stations with Matterall a couple of days ago, talking about EVE Echoes and a few other things. If you want to, Talking Stations does a lot of different things regarding the politics and stuff. You should definitely check them out if that's your interest.
Yeah, kind of a little bit more they like to cover all sorts of different pieces of the news. So it's definitely a really unique place to kind of stop by for some EVE Online or EVE Echo stories.
I'd just like to tell Skippy to go fuck himself in the most friendly manner possible. Because okay, can I just quickly say, I made 2,000 subs on YouTube, so that means I have to fly, I have to be Minmatar. That doesn't mean I have to fly the piece of shit ships. That means I have to make a Minmatar character. For everyone
You gotta go full
sitting there.
Minmatar, dude.
I just can't.
In Rust we trust.
Yeah, but if I do that, that literally ruins my personal gameplay. I can't fly Minmatar because I'm just not, I don't like projectiles. I hate it.
In order to fly Minmatar, you're gonna need this thing called skill. I don't know if you have it.
Damn. Damn. No, actually, at cheeky. Minmatar ships at 3k. No, at 3k, I actually get a Amar tattoo on my body. At 4k, I get a Caldari tattoo. At 5k, I get a Galente tattoo. And then at 6k, I get a Minmatar tattoo.
Okay, but what's the real estate of the tattoo? Is it going to be color? How big? Where is it going to go?
It's gonna go on the inside of my arm, here, on the inside in this slot here, and it's gonna be the 4 going down here. It's gonna have some real estate. It's not gonna be hidden. I mean, I'm not gonna get it tattooed down my face or on my neck, but it will be there.
True Amarian would.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Shut up.
No,
I'm not doing it.
Sob being a more master race, we know what he will do now that he's been called up by fish. He's gonna call on Nina and sick Nina on fish.
No, it's perfect. See, look, I actually have a way around the whole thing completely, and I can still fly Amar and be Amar, but also be Minmatar, and I could just run as an Amatar. Amatar is a Minmatar faction within the Amar, so I could literally just do that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make a Minmatar character because I have to stand by my words. I'm just not going to fly the piece of shit ships.
You're terrible.
I can't do it.
Right. Shall we...
That's everything done. I want to thank everyone for coming.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you for tuning
Obsidian,
in. We'll see you soon.
Strength and honor.
What are we doing for the next one before we go? Any idea what we're doing for the next one?
Streamer.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks. Anyways, take it easy, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. That'll be the end of the show.
Take care, guys. See you later.
Fly safe.
We will let everyone know what the next subject is.
Cool.